Good morning. Today is Monday, the 13th of December. Have you seen the adverts for insurance that publicise themselves as confused.com? Well, I seem to be confused a lot these days. Maybe it's just part of the aging process, or maybe it's the fact that we're all faced with monumental changes in our lives these days. Unless you go and live in a cave on the top of Ingleborough, it's almost impossible to avoid the changes and the debates about them. We've always been a divided society, but sadly the divisions today seem clearer and impossible to reconcile, even though we celebrate an event that could have ended divisions. But there are huge questions with which we have to wrestle. Are you a person who believes in individual freedoms and the freedom of speech at any cost? How do you see your freedom in relation to the freedom of other people who also believe in their freedom? In America, the question might be, do you always have the right to carry a gun, even though using it might deprive someone else of their freedom? Or are you willing to give up that right to protect the freedom of others? Although some might argue that carrying a gun protects freedoms. In this country, it might be, are you free to drink as much as you like, even though the consequences might limit the freedom of others? Well, we do have laws that limit this freedom if you plan to drive, and there are consequences if you do. Today, I listened to a debate about the new restrictions introduced because of the COVID virus. Have you been vaccinated? Have you chosen not to have the jab? Should it be mandatory to have a vaccination in order to protect others? And in some countries, they're considering mandatory vaccination, and Austria, I understand, has already gone down this line. Should it be compulsory to have the so-called vaccine passport in order to access certain buildings and facilities? And does this restrict your freedom if you haven't got one? Does it protect the freedom of other people? Or does a COVID passport create further divisions in society? If I choose to have the jab, do I want someone next to me in a restaurant or sports arena who's not done so? Oh, these are all difficult questions, and I wish I had some answers for you. I wonder where we do get our ideas and values and beliefs from. And it seems to me, from recent experience, that it's hard for people to change their opinions and beliefs, even when faced with what others think are objective facts. Well, I hope you're still with me. I hope that you're less confused than I feel these days. And yes, there are lots of confusions in the Bible, and they've been discussed by millions of people throughout the centuries. But there's no confusion in the teaching of Jesus. Whichever translation you care to follow, love your neighbour as yourself says what it means. Love your neighbour as yourself. Next time someone's challenging my views, perhaps I should see the teaching of Jesus in them. Next time a driver cuts dangerously in front of me, perhaps I should see the teaching of Jesus in them. Next time I see cases of children being mistreated, abused, and murdered by people, do I find the teaching of Jesus in that situation? Next time I see boats struggling to bring people to safety across the channel, I should see the teaching of Jesus in them. And next time I hear politicians lying to us, do I see the teaching of Jesus in them? A struggle I will find difficult. But Jesus promised to be with us, to support us and to understand our difficulties and our confusions. We weren't promised an easy time, and if, like me, you're struggling with the world as we see it today, look for the good signs and the kindness of people. They are there. We've seen many in recent months. but we do have to work hard at finding them. God bless you in your search. And some words from Stuart Townend and Mark Edwards. There's a hope that lifts my weary head, a consolation strong against despair, that when the world has plunged me in its deepest pit, I find the Saviour there. Through present sufferings, future's fear, he whispers, courage in my ear, for I am safe in everlasting arms, and they will lead me home. Have a good day, and try not to be too confused.